Okay, so the Rebbe is going to make a few diyukim now, point out a few points in the Maimer that we just learned that he quoted from the Friedrich Rebbe. And the Rebbe is going to show, we're talking about the connection that mitzvahs are connected. The same, he says, a keresh, the Mishkan, connected the top and the bottom, like an amud, like a pillar connects the top and the bottom, which is similar to mitzvahs. The Rebbe is going to point out that there is a difference between the keresh, the amud that connects, and the mitzvahs that connect. Because by the mitzvahs, the language is not only does it connect, but it also is mamshich. Let's look inside. V'hinei mediyuk loshin hamaimer, the precise language of the Maimer, move on. It's understood. Sheyesh hefresh bein hakroshim lemitzvahs. That there is a difference between the kroshim, the amudim, the pillars, and the mitzvahs. The Rebbe says that the kroshim are similar to mitzvahs. The zehu mashekosu b'hamaimer. This is what the Maimer writes. Shahakroshim heim al derech hamitzvahs. They are similar to the mitzvahs. When we say al derech, means al derech v'dugma levad. It's along the way. It's a sample alone, but it's not the exact same thing. The kroshim in the Mishkan and the mitzvahs are not the same thing. The mitzvahs are more than the amudim, than the kroshim. Shaham mitzvahs heim amudim mamish. The mitzvahs are amudim. They are actually pillars. But v'hakroshim heim al derech mitzvahs. It's similar to the mitzvahs. That's why we say that the kroshim are similar to the mitzvahs because they're not like the mitzvahs themselves. V'lochein. And that's why b'hamitzvahs su oimer haloshin mamshichim umechabrim. He says both languages. Mamshichim, they draw down. The mitzvahs draw down from the Ein Sof. And also mechabrim, they also connect. The infinite of the light of the infinite, blessed be He and the worlds. But Bahakroshim, when he talks about the beams in the Mishkan, over there he doesn't say they draw down. Ki'im only says shehem mechabrim oirin sof baruch hu ima oilamois al derech hamitzvos. They connect the Ein Sof Baruch Hu with the worlds similar to the mitzvahs. So basically, the Rebbe points out that the Keroshim are not exactly like mitzvahs. Mitzvahs accomplish even more because in addition to mechabrim, mitzvahs are mamshichim. They also draw down, whereas by the Keroshim, it's only connecting similar to the mitzvahs which are mamshichim. That's one point the Rebbe makes. And the Rebbe makes yet another point. In the Tanya, also we see when he brings the example for mitzvahs from the Amudim, we'll also see that there is a difference where it starts. By a pillar, it says the pillar starts on the bottom, the Amud, and it goes to the top. So we start with the bottom and it goes to the top. When we talk about mitzvahs, it goes the other way around. It starts from the top, and it goes down to the bottom. So b'hinei b'tanya yesh gamkin hefresh. In the Tanya, there's also a difference bein hamoshul da amudim, between the moshul that he brings there from the pillars, lanimshul the mitzvahs, to the example that he brings for the mitzvahs. So here, with regards to amudim and kroshim, there's a difference between kroshim and mitzvahs. There's also a difference over there in Tanya between the amudim and the mitzvahs. Be'inyan ha'amudim, when he talks about the mudim omer, he says, shehem nitzovim ba'aretz, they are stationed, standing on the ground. And he says, v'roisham mechuber b'tikra, and the top of the pillar is connected to the roof. So they stand on the ground, and the top of the beam connects to the roof. Ubahanimshal the mitzvahs omer, but then when he brings the example from the mitzvahs, he uses the opposite way. It says shehem nitzovim beruim, they are standing on the height, v'nimshachim ad ha'oretz, and they are extend to the ground, similar to the mamshichim or mechabrim that the Friedrich Rebbe uses in the Maimer. They stand high up, and they are drawn down to the ground. Why is there a difference between the marshal, between the pillars? We start with the ground and we go to the top, and the nimshal, which we go by mitzvahs, we start from the top and we go to the bottom. Because actually, physically, when we talk about a physical beam, where is the standing? Where is the anchor? Nitzov, it's on the bottom. And then you bring it up high. By mitzvahs is the other way around. See what he says. V'hinei shinui hamoshul mehanimshul, the change of language from the moshul, where we start from the bottom, we're going up, and the nimshul goes from the top to the bottom, move on b'pashtus. That's very simply understood. The hine ha'amudim, the pillars, hare haschalosum, where do they start? Shehem nitzovim ba'aretz, they are stationed, they're standing strong in the ground. Umizeh, and then from the ground, hey magim adatikra, they reach up till the roof. They start from the ground and they go up to the roof. Mashenkin mitzvahs, where do mitzvahs start? Mitzvahs, the connecting mitzvahs, harehem nitzovim l'maylo, they are anchored above. Mitzvahs start from above. Kumesha kosuv, as it says, Asher kidishonu b'mitzvosov, he sanctified it with his mitzvahs. Who's his mitzvahs? The Eibishter's mitzvahs. Because the mitzvahs are really the Eibishter's, they start above. Those are the Eibishter's mitzvahs. Asher kidishonu b'mitzvosov. Shelamaylo, of above. Umishom heim nimshachim lamata. So first there is mitzvahs of the Eibishter above, and from there it comes down below. So it goes from the top to the bottom. This fits umasim lehaklal hayadua. This fits with the known rule that is brought down in the Pardes and the various different places that Rebbe brings down over here. Sheyesh hefresh ben yisoid lamato li yisoid lamaylo. That there is a difference between a foundation below and a foundation above. Here in this world, the foundation you start is the bottom, and from there you build up. The foundation above goes the other way around. It's founded above, and then it goes down. So this idea of the marshal and the nimshal fits in very well with what he says in other places, that there's a difference between the basis, the foundation below, and the foundation above. Shalemato, that below, hayisoidu lemato, the foundation is below. V'olov nivna habinyan, and on the foundation you built the building. But ulamailo, but above, it's the other way around. Hare hayisoid hulamailo mehabinyan, the foundation is higher. From the foundation comes the building. So therefore it fits. Be'inyan ha'amudim, when he talks about the marshal, about pillars, Omer shehem nitzovim ba'aretz, he says they are anchored, they're stationary, they're strong. The nitzov inyan chayzak hadover. Nitzov represents the strength, that it's strongly standing. Nitzov melech, the king standing, which means it's a shows on a level of security, of strength, of force, that it's fully standing strongly. So where is the strength? In the ground. Hine lemato harichozek v'yisoid hadover. So the way it's by us below in our world, the strength and the foundation of the matter, hu lemato ba'aretz, is below in the ground. Ve'olav nivna habinyan, and on top of that foundation, you build a building. But the beinyan hamitzvahs, when we talk about mitzvahs, hu oimer, he says, sheim nitzavim berum hamailus, that they're stationed strong on the height of the steps all the ways up. Lifi shalamaylo harichozek v'yisoid hadover hu lamaylo, because the way it's above, the foundation, the strength and the foundation of the matter is above, and therefore it starts from above. That's why he says nitzovim beruv hamaylos, and then it comes down below. Okay, so that explains the language of nimshochim from there, and why most of the pillar we start from the bottom to the top, and by the nimshul from the mitzvahs is from the top to the bottom, because by the moshul, the gashmis, the mato is the main, that's where the nitzov is. But lamailo, on the spiritual levels, it's nitzov is above, and from above comes below. But the Rebbe Nois Gimel now wants to explain why is that taka so. Why is the foundation the way it's below, it's on the bottom, and the foundation the way it's on the above, it's from the top? Why is that the case? Gimel. This itself we need to understand. Why is it that the foundation below is different, on a different way than the foundation of above? That here the foundation is on the bottom, and above the foundation is on the top. So the Rebbe says, "V'yuvon zeh," we can understand this, the idea. Api hamavur bekama inyonim, based on what's explained in many matters. Umehem beinyan yesh hanivra. From amongst the explanation, the various inyonim, there is the idea of the yesh hanivra, the entity of a created being. A yesh hanivra, a created being, feels himself that he is an entity, that he is a real Metzias. Why does he feel himself that he's a real Metzias? Because he's rooted in Atzmus, which is a real Metzias, which has nothing before him. Metziusei me'atzmusei. And because the Yesh HaNivra is created from Mitziusei Ma'atzmusei, he gets the feeling of Mitziusei Ma'atzmusei also, that he is entity, that he is existence, he's independent of anything else. The Zeh Shebahargoshosei, the fact that a created being, in his feeling, Ein lo ilo v'siba, has no cause, no reason that brings him about, Shekod Melech Chas v'Sholom. There is no cause and there's no reason that precedes him. Why does he feel that? Hulifi, I'm just trying to think what he says here. The fact that he feels, that's chas v'sholem, because to feel like that is a chas v'sholem, to feel yourself as an entity. So he says chas v'sholem. But why does a person feel that? Hulifi shehis havusei hu ma'atzmus, because because a yesh, a nivra, comes from atzmus, and atzmus asher mitziusei ma'atzmusei, his existence is from himself. Ve'ein lo ila v'siba shekodma lo, he has no cause and no reason that preceded him. Chas v'sholem, God forbid. The rak. Why are we saying mitziusei ma'atzmusei? Because the rak hu levadei bekoiche v'yicholta, it is only Hashem alone who's in his power and his ability lahavis yesh me'ayin ve'efes hamuchlet, to create an entity, a yesh, from nothing and zero totally. Who has the power to create, to bring in something from nothing, from total nothingness? It's only the power of Atzmus. So a Nivra needs Atzmus to create it. As explained in the Geras HaKodesh. And for this reason, V'lachein la'asi lovei, so in the future to come, Asher oz yizgalu amitis opnimius kol hinyonim. In the future to come, then the true and the inner of all matters will be revealed. We'll be able to see. Presently, it's hidden, it's disguised, it's covered. But then everything will be revealed. Hina oz yizgale bayesh hanivra. So then it will be revealed in the created yesh, a yesh, that an entity that was created, shorsha amiti. Then we'll be able to tell his real, true root. V'hu yesh ha'amiti she'ein le'ila v'siba, which is the true entity, which is Hashem, that has no cause or reason before him. You will be able to tell in the yesh hanivra. So he explains the reason why yesh hanivra feels himself in his feeling that he's an entity and he's independent of anything, of Hashem, he's independent, is because he's really is created from Hashem, who has no reason. And the only one that could create is Hashem. So in the future, when that will be revealed, we will see in every created being, in the Yesh HaNivra, that his true existence is Hashem. So, Ubazeh Yuvon, Mashenotz Tchiloson B'Sefer. We say that the beginning is stuck, is connected to the end. Again, Seifam is the lowest, is Seifam, would be this world, would be the Nivra. He is the world in Olam HaAsiyah, in this world, that's the end. Who is stuck, which means who is connected to this end? It's the Tchila. Tchiloso means not only the Rosh. Rosh would mean the head. Tchila is even higher than the head. The Tchila is connected and is stuck into the Sefer. And now we understand why no Tchiloso b'Sefer. Asher b'Seifon davke notes hatchila shu l'mayla mebchinas Rosh. In the Seif davke, the Techila, which is higher than the Rosh. The Rosh itself comes out in other areas as well. But what comes, where does the Techila come? The part that's higher than Rosh, that comes down, Dafke, in the end. Asher HaTechila. What is the Techila? Shehu HaAtzmus, which is the level of Atzmus, Nimtzo B'Bchinas HaSoif Dafke. That comes in the Dafke in the end. What is the end? Not just a created being. We're talking about a created being, a physical created being in this world, which means, what is this Soif? Bayesh Hagashmi, in the physical entity, a created Bayesh Hagashmi. She'ein Tachten Lamato Mimenu. There is nothing lower than the physical entity. That's the lowest as it goes. Hinehu Dafke Dira Latzmusa Yizbarich. So it's Dafke, that physical Yesh Gashmi becomes the dwelling place for Atzmus. Atzmus reveals itself, is notes in the Yesh, in the Tachten Shei Tachten Madana. Asher La'osid Yezeh Begilu. In the future, that will be revealed. We will see that. But Ube'emes Gam Achshav came. But the true is that it's really now true too. We don't see it. But what is connected, what is notes in the Gashmi Mamish is the Techila, is the level of Atzmus. V'zeu hatam, and this is the reason, Asher lemato hayisoid hu lemato dafkia. that the way it's below, what is the foundation? That's lower, below. Yesh the Asiya, that's the entity of Asiya. The Olov, and on top of the entity of Asiya, Nivnu Olam Esolyonim, the higher worlds were built. They go on top of the Yesod, which is Asiya. Why? Because in Asiya, in the Yesh of Asiya, is Atzmus over there. That's the nodes Tchilosim B'Seifo. So that's Tafke in the Yesh of Asiya. So that's when we look below the way it is in the Tachten. Mashenkin Lemailo. But when you look above, which is the spiritual levels of the world, Haremavur Betanya, so they're not the foundation above, the highest levels. Fakir, the only reason why the highest levels of there, the Alter Rebbe explains in Tanya, because there has to be ahishtalshlus to the lowest level. So we have to go through, we have the higher level. The higher levels are just used basically to be mamshich godliness into the lower levels. So it turns out that the basis for them is the higher level, so you can be mamshich them. Mashenkin lamailo, as opposed to the above, harimavur betanya. It's explained in Tanya. Asher hakavona hapnimis eino be'olam yonim. That the inner intent of Hashem is not in this supreme, in the spiritual world. Vehem rak ha'ore bilvad. They are not essence. They're not the essence of the Atzmus because they're not the goal. They're only a shine, a ray. Bilvad. V'chol inyono. What's the whole purpose? What is the purpose of all the Olam Yonim? Hurak bichdei shetushlam al yodam. It's only that through them, in order to them, will be fulfilled hakavonas hapnimis lamata davke, the inner intent below. We have the upper world so that there will be the lower world. So they are not the goal. Lamata, the goal is the tacht and the yesh. Everything is built on that. But lamailo, the goal is lamata. V'oir v'ha'ore shalamailo nais naila yeser. And the light and the shine that comes from above is more greater. The lachain, so it's a higher light to come down for the purpose of below. That's why above the pillars, they're standing on the height of the levels to bring them down. Over there it's a higher light. From there it comes down below. So it's all for there to come down below. So the higher level of light is above. From the higher level of light, it comes down below. But the basis below comes from the mato because that's the real yesoid that whole because it's mitziusim atzmusi is in the nivra and in the lowest in the yesh agashmi over there is mamash nikra. But the Rebbe still wants to know in Oiz Daled, why is it Hake that the Yesh Amiti is only Dafke in the Gashmis, in the Yesh, the physical Yesh, and not in the spiritual level? Why is it that? Daled. Omnom, Adayin, Tzorich, Lahavin, we still need to understand Mipnei ma b'Yesh Nivra Dafke hu Yesh Hamiti. Why is it only in the created Yesh that we have the true Yesh, that we have Hashem? Why can't it be found also on the spiritual level? Why is it Dafke Begashmi? The Lechoide, oh, Yetzorich Liyas Yeshua Amiti, Berochne Yasoin Yonim, Ubin Yonim Ruchnim, Lechoide, the true Yes, Hashem, the true entity, should have been in the spiritual matters and in the matters of spirituality. Shelochein nikra b'shem elyonim. Why are they supreme? Why are they a higher? V'shem nailim b'madrega. And so why is it that those higher in madrega don't get only the lowest of the madregas? We're saying is the Yesh Amiti in the Yesh Nivra. Why not in the Yesh Haruchni, in the spiritual level, which are higher levels? Why don't they have the Yesh? So Achayinyanhu. So the idea is Koshemevayer Kveit Kidushas Admurhem Tzoynish Maseid. Is like the Mittler Rebbe explains Gimel Misholim. He gives three examples. Be'inyan kol hagavoya gavoya beyoser. Yored umislabish umizgale benomuch namuch yoser. He gives three examples in this idea that whatever is very, very high descends and dresses up and is revealed in what's lower, lower, more lower. The higher, higher goes to lower, lower. He gives three examples. The Rebbe is going to say these three examples fit the three worlds of Bria, Yetzira, Asiya. And it also fits on the higher worlds in each world where we have these three levels, the three marshals. What are the three marshals? So, marshal number one, marshal ha'alaf. The first marshal is Huma'avuko gedoylo sha'oira godel u'meira lemerochik. So you have a big flame, has a strong, powerful light. It shines even at a distance. So, how do you reach v'kasher tzorich lahoyir lemokim harochik? When you need to bring light to a faraway place, tzorich lozeh avuka gedoylo. So you need a big flame. So memela, if you see light in a faraway place, that's namuch yoser. If you see a flame there, you have to say that this flame comes from a very powerful avuka, a very powerful flame. Because how does it get over here? If it wasn't a big flame, then it wouldn't go so far. That means the greater the flame, the higher the flame, the stronger, the more powerful the flame, the further it goes. Move on. So it's understood. So that in order for us to be recognized, the advantage of the great flame. In other words, in Yiddish, where do you get the advantage of the big flame? Over the advantage of a lamp and a small flame. Where do you see something big? In a faraway place, that's where you can tell the advantage of the greatness. The Gavoya B'Yoser expresses itself when it comes to a far, far away place. But when you're close by, you can't tell that it's such a powerful flame. It's only when it goes further in a far place that you can tell that it's a powerful flame. Shom Dafke Nizgala B'chinas HaGavoya Asher Ba'avuka. That is when it's revealed the high level in the flame. The Hagam Asher Ha'oir Shemeiro Lemerochiku Oir Cotton B'Yoser. Even though the light that shines over there is a very small fire, very small light, because it had to travel for a long way. So over there it's dim, it's just a little bit light. And the light is so dim, if you're going to bring there another lamp in that mokim rochik, that's going to be more light than the light of the flame that shines over there. So basically, we're not saying that there's a strong light over there. It's a very dim light, but still, when could you tell the greatness of the big flame? It is when it's a faraway place. Over here, you can tell the advantage and the force of the avuka. That's one mashal. That where could you see the power, how big the flame is when it goes far? in a lower place, you can tell from where it comes from. Moshel habeis, the second moshel, hu mechavis malei yamayim. If you have a barrel which is full of water, or chacham malei chachma, or you have a wise person who's filled with chachma, shemitzad ribu hamayim shebechavis shemalei al kol gedoisah, because there's so much water in the barrel which is filled to all of the borders totally. Hinimitzad zeh nishpach gam bechutz. That's why it spills also on the outside. So when it spills over, then you can tell how much water. Look how much water. You can tell how much water. The water that spills out is insignificant, but in that insignificant amount of water, you can tell that the vessel, that barrel, is full with wisdom, full with water. Because there's so much water in the barrel which is overflowing all the sides. That's why it pours outside. That means and here you can tell how much water it is that it spills outside. Now, this water that spilled outside is nothing. It's hefker. Dagam. Even though the water that is poured outside is ownerless, nobody owns it. And they're very little in quantity. Their insignificance relative to the water in the barrel. A little bit of water spills over. In this insignificant amount of water, that's why you can tell that it's full on all sides. If it spills over a little bit, so in the insignificance, in the lamata mata b'yoser, you can see that it's very full. The same thing is with wisdom. That through the levels of the additional chokhmah, noivlis chokhmah means the leftover, like the chokhmah, or just the weekly talk of a Talmud Chochem. Through that talk, dafke niker shehamshoche hi mechochem godel, that the hamshoche is from a very wise person, sheshayich le'imek hachochma, who has a connection to the depth of chochma. So that's the second mashal of a when it's full. So even though it's only neivlis chochma, those are just sichas chulin, they're not really Torah or wisdom, or real the wisdom. But where could you tell the person's greatness is actually no tchilosum b'seifon of kol ha'govoya? No, use kol ha'govoya b'yeser yered l'mata yeser. Okay, we ran out of time over here, so we'll be mamshech tomorrow. Mitzvah Shem.
Bye-bye.